All right, I am here with Bharath Kumar, the head of marketing and customer experience for Zoho Booking. And recently, Zoho has released a survey with that goes over appointments and scheduling trends and challenges among small businesses, small and medium businesses in the United States and also worldwide. But we're going to focus on the data here in the US. Well, thank you, Bharath, for coming on.
My pleasure, Leland. Thank you for the opportunity.
All right. So in the US report, 72.83% of SMBs say that scheduling meetings daily or weekly or say that they schedule meetings weekly or daily. Does this number tell you appointment booking is no longer a back office task, but a core business flow that directly affects how SMBs operate?
Definitely, yes. We also look at it as it's the final step in the conversion. Like, for example, if I take a very colloquial purchase process, I figure out that I need shoes. I do a lot of research and then I figure out what one I need to buy and I visit the store. I'm about to get the shoes and I'm showing my card and it says card declined, right? The same thing, like I'm nurturing a lead, I'm showing the right set of content, I'm generating the interest. The lead is now ready to purchase or want to have a conversation with me. They come to me and at that time, like back and forth on email saying, okay, can we talk today? Can we talk tomorrow? Can we have this in the morning, evening? You miss the opportunity. So it is a business critical function because it converts that the final step. Like when someone is ready to purchase, ready to become your customer, you're using bookings as an opportunity to make the deal happen. So hence it is a definite business critical function.
All right, perfect. The US data also shows that 72.83% still rely on email and 57.09% still rely on phone calls for scheduling, while only 34.65% use dedicated scheduling software. Why do you think the manual channels are still dominating when the friction seems so obvious?
A couple of reasons predominantly. One is the the perceived convenience and ease of use. For example, when I am opening a scheduling link, that means the control is in the customer's hand. Like I don't decide when to meet. I'm just being an open book and say, hey, I am available during these times. Let's say 12 hours into 5 days a week, etc. And then I let the customer choose. So while if I am doing a proposal saying, hey, can we talk tomorrow at 5 p.m., then the control is predominantly with me. So that convenience, perceived convenience, because actually if you put customer at the center of your transactions, then it is actually not a good thing. But when I am assuming that hey, I am in control of when I am going to go for this meeting, then the perceived convenience is one important thing. People don't realize that hey, give the control in customers' hands. So that is one important thing. Second aspect is cost. I think awareness of cost. People assume one, the software cost is one, obvious, yes, but the sunk cost of missing appointments, the sunk cost of losing a transaction over a back and forth email. I think people are not putting an opportunity cost to that. That's the right word. So I think because of those two reasons.
In the US, 46.1% say back and forth scheduling is their biggest challenge. What does that tell you about how much time small businesses are losing before a meeting even gets on the calendar?
Definitely, yes. One is, like you rightly said, a meeting on the calendar, and also other aspects like, let's say, collecting payments, triggering other follow-up emails, etc. Right. So all of those things can be eliminated if there is a proper scheduling process that happens. Like I said, we shouldn't look at scheduling as a simple final task that is just fixing a meeting. It is much more than that. Like I touched upon earlier, in the complete purchase process, this is the final step that actually converts a lead to a deal. The person is interested, she wants to talk to you. Do not miss out on that opportunity. So that final step where that conversation is established and the person actually commits saying, okay, I am going to spend the next 30 minutes talking to you to understand your service or a product, and hence may look at a purchase process later. I think that final conversion is happening. So hence this is much important.
So, just to go a little off of the script a little bit, do you think that there might be a little bit of an element of impersonalization, like when it comes to using booking software, and maybe that's why people are resistant a little bit. So you're doing an email back and forth trying to sell, and then all of a sudden you're pushing a link to say, hey, go and book a software, instead of just saying, hey, I want to work with you to find a good time. Do you think there might be a little bit of an element there?
Definitely yes, because I've also heard very rarely like a 1-2% conversation where some people mention this point that by putting a booking link, I'm putting the onus on the customer
Mhm.
instead of me initiating or me owning the closure, saying when are you available, can we talk today, tomorrow. Instead, I'm just giving a link. It feels like, okay, till now you were there with me over an email conversation, then now suddenly I'm being transferred to a tool, and I am as a customer, I need to figure out when to talk and all that. Is there a bit of impersonalization is a very nice word. If I have to be very crude, is there a bit of a disrespect in like, okay, the onus is now on you, we have had this mail conversation, here is a link, you figure out a time to talk to me. But I think it's a culture thing, maybe the initial friction. But once someone uses, especially some of the tools like Zoho Bookings, when the personalization happens at the booking interface itself, in terms of the brand look and feel, our AI capabilities ensure that the conversation that you had on an email or the website that you browsed, and then the bookings page that you go, all feel in sync. Some of the efforts that we take to ensure that that impersonal effect is not felt, it feels like, okay, I was talking to Leland all along, and then here is a personal page of him, which makes it easy for me to continue the conversation, to get on a call. So how the tool and how the user manages that, I think that is very important. If you just say, hey, here is a link, book an appointment when you have time, yes, it will come across a little rude. But if you can put it as, I leave it to you, I am available all the time, anytime that you are available, please feel free to book a time here, the user will feel empowered.
All right, great. So the US report showed 34.65% cite no-shows and 31.89% cite double bookings as a major problem. When you look at those numbers, do you see reminders and calendar syncing as a convenient features or as a revenue protection tool?
No, it is definitely an important revenue augmenting revenue generation tool. Very frankly, when we get into sales conversations, when prospects evaluate us, these are some capabilities that they are very curious about in terms of these calendar syncing and reminders. They explicitly ask us questions on how good is your tool in terms of these aspects. How good does your tool sync with other calendar options and all that? Because that is a definite revenue support, revenue generation tool in the whole scheme of things.
Perfect. All right. So the US findings suggest that many businesses are spending far too long just to lock in one meeting. How should small business owners think about the hidden labor costs of scheduling when what looks like a quick task is actually repeated over and over and over all week long?
This is a very, very nice question, Leland. I would answer it a little philosophically, in the sense that not just a scheduling software, a booking software. What is the purpose of any software? It is actually giving you time,
Mhm.
right? It can be any tool, like it can be a CRM, it could be an accounting solution, any tool that you use. If can you not do it manually? Yes, but what will happen? You will have errors. You will take a lot more time. You may take 5x, 10x more time than what you would do with a tool. So any software for that matter is actually reducing your possibility of errors, giving you more time in hand to do much more value added work. You should look at scheduling also like that. I have had the conversation, and at the last minute, if I am going to go back and forth on an email, waiting for someone else to reply, and if you are operating across different time zones, maybe your morning could be someone else's afternoon or evening, then all that overlap, your mail may be sitting in the last in their mailbox when they wake up the next day morning and all that, right? So to avoid all of these, the last step, instead of making that mistake, the the simple and the easiest thing to do is to look at a software, including a scheduling software, as a tool that saves you time, that saves you avoids you from stops you from wasting time, then naturally I think this adoption will happen. It's not the features, it's not the capability, it's actually the benefit to the business. I think that should be put at the front.
All right. In the US report, 56.82% say scheduling software improves customer experience. Why do you think customer service came out even more strongly than some purely operational benefits?
I mean that is very obvious to us also, because at the end of the day, these tools put the customer's need at the front and center, based on the severity, based on the criticality, when the customer wants to talk, how important, how critical it is for the customer to have this conversation. It naturally sort of makes the culture feel like an open book. I am an organization, I am engaging with you for some, let's say, a sales process. You are evaluating my tool. And when I am putting it out in open, saying I am available for so many hours, so many days of a week, some companies say 24, 14 hours into 6 days, 12 hours into 5 days, etc. So that sort of sends that signal to the customer that whenever you want, you can always reach out to me, not just today. This is a permanent link that I'm going to use in future. If you have something also, you can always stay in touch with me anytime that you want. You don't even have to check with me. The link is going to available. If you see I'm not available at 2 p.m, if I'm available at 3 p.m, go ahead and block the time. I will always be available for you. I think that culture signal happens, that we are open and we are always available for you when you need. I think that is the biggest. And then when you bring the group dynamics, if it is one person, you and I having a conversation is one thing. Let's say I represent a department, I represent a solutioning department, and when I give you a link of the whole solutioning department, that gives you even more confidence that if not for Bharath, if there is an Ila, if there is a Kumar, someone else is going to be available and they will ensure my needs are taken care of. That gives a lot of confidence to customers, and that's why customer service is the most important aspect that is being serviced by these scheduling solutions.
Mhm. I know I've had that happen to where I've given a customer my meeting schedule link, and just later down the road, all of a sudden it came up. They're like, oh, they
Yeah.
scheduled a meeting with me. I've also had it the opposite, where someone I had no idea, I've never talked to in my life, all of a sudden schedule a meeting. So and that one wasn't necessarily a good meeting. They were trying to sell me something more so than the opposite way.
Okay, okay.
So yeah, it can be very beneficial. I agree.
Definitely, definitely. Yeah.
All right, the US report shows that 31.82% say scheduling software improves sales and revenue. Why do you think something as simple as making booking easier can end up affecting growth that directly?
Exactly. I think the most important aspect there is not gatekeeping your availability, by clearly saying that here is the different, I am available for so many hours across so many days, making it convenient for the user to decide when they want to have the conversation, and most importantly, how you use a scheduling link also. For example, not just over an email, it can even be at a website. Someone is browsing through your website, reads, let's say, a white paper or like a product capability document, and is very interested. Then you ask them to fill a form, collect that information, then you trigger an automated email saying, okay, these are the different times, you whenever you want to talk, let's talk. Instead, just imagine at the website interface itself there is a scheduling link that is available, so it closes the thread faster. When the iron is hot, you strike, the same thing happens. The customer or the prospect has read through what you have to offer. He or she is very interested in evaluating this further, maybe having a demo conversation before the purchase happens. Instead of making them wait, or instead of going through back and forth or on email, at the website itself, let's say if you're showing a link for someone to schedule a meeting with you the next day, then there is a commitment that happens. The prospect is like, okay, I've read through whatever I want, now let me spend the next 1 hour, maybe tomorrow I'll spend the 1 hour with them to understand this further. That's the second level of maturity in the purchase process, and it's a clear indication that uh, uh, when someone books a meeting and shows, the probability of them purchasing is 50 times more than what happens without a bookings meeting. So those are indications that the prospect is willing to go to the next step if your product offers what you committed on the website or like in other communication. Then naturally the conversion is higher, and naturally it gravitates to higher sales and revenue opportunities.
Nice. That's good to know. All right. Zoho Bookings talks about letting customers self-schedule through a branded booking page. You covered that a little bit earlier. When more than 7 out of 10 US SMBs are still using email to book meetings, do you think many owners still underestimate how much the booking experience shapes the customer's first impression?
100%. I think what we have learned over time is, leave the vendor, it could be Zoho, it could be some other vendor also, but what we have learned over time is the aha moment happens after you use a scheduling solution. If you're always used to emails, if you're always used to this back and forth, and maybe you don't realize there is a better way to do it, you may still continue doing it. But once you use a booking solution, the churn rates in our solutions are very, very minimal, because you either have to worst case go to some other competitor for some reason, or you will have to use a booking solution forever, because that experience transforms how you see your overall the sales purchase process in completion. So what we have learned over time is that initial exposure using a scheduling link and then having those conversations with customer, once you get used to it, then naturally the adoption will continue, then you will stick to that as your standard operating procedure forever. So that's the benefit. I think that's what small and medium businesses also will learn. So typically what happens, it is not even a scheduling problem. If you step back and really look at what happens in our space, in a lot of small medium businesses, the focus is on the core business, right? Like I am a small organization, I am trying to do something. Let's say I'm trying to sell a product, trying to make a living, I'm trying to excel by doing a certain business. All my focus is on that, on the core operations, on, let's say, the core making of whatever is the produce that I have, and then taking it to the market. So software typically takes a backseat. Typically what happens is, I have an idea, I come up with a prototype, I do something, and then I launch, I find customers. At some point I feel like I'm getting stuck, I'm not able to scale, I'm not having the visibility, I'm not able to manage my pipeline, I'm not able to manage my leads. Then I start to think of where do I use a software, and then gradually you use different solutions, and in that order a scheduling booking solution also will come. I think that is something that we need to relook at. When you buy a solution is different, but that clarity when you start that, okay, for me to scale, I would need a set of software solutions, including a CRM, including a bookings. If that becomes a part of a small medium business's thought process itself when they start to grow, I think that will add a lot of value to how they scale and how they grow faster.
All right. So even with these benefits that we've been talking about, all these benefits, only 34.65% of US SMBs are using dedicated scheduling software. Is the biggest barrier here awareness, setup friction, or the fact that many businesses still do not realize how expensive manually booking appointments really is?
Yeah, it is predominantly awareness, because uh, let's say an email solution, when you start a business, when you want to engage with customers, you will need an email solution. It's not an optional thing. You need an email provider, you need an email ID for you to interact with someone. At some point a website becomes a mandate. It's not like you, whatever be your industry, whatever work you're doing, for an identity you will definitely need a site, a simple site at least. A tool like a bookings or a scheduling software is not in that league. Until a point where you miss appointments, where you are missing out on customers, when the problem happens, it is not, it is definitely a must have, but from a business point of view it just feels like a good to have and not a must have, unless they go through a problem experience. So I think that awareness, that maturity, and okay, this helps my life, makes my life better, so that happens at different stages for different organizations. So that is one reason. Definitely providers like us also have some responsibility in ensuring that the adoption can happen faster, in the sense that, like I touched upon, like our AI capabilities now, ensuring that the look and feel, the ease of creating a bookings page, that looking very similar to your overall branding and messaging guidelines and all that, those are things that we are also investing on. But as providers, as service providers, as software providers, if we also are very conscious in ensuring that the adoption is at the focus, naturally I think it will make it easy for the users also to expand. Like I want to try for, let's say, 2 3 of my team first, then I feel, oh, this is good enough, then I can scale it across my department, then I can scale it across my organization. That definitely happens over time.
Perfect. So yeah, that first part that you talked about, I totally get. Don't people don't want to deal with it until something's broken, until it becomes a
Correct.
kind of, a fire that needs to be put
Yeah.
out.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So US users say that they want AI capabilities added, 40.91%, more integrations at 39.77%, and better customer support at 37.5%. What do these three numbers tell you about SMBs? What SMBs think currently scheduling tools are still missing?
Um, we touched upon the AI capabilities. I think yes, the using AI not just because there has to be some AI force fed into the system. That's not what providers should do. But genuinely seeing how it can add value to the overall user experience, which I think a lot of us are doing now. Very interesting aspect that you mentioned is the integration part. How seamlessly these tools connect with other aspects or other tools in your ecosystem, like calendar, like a video booking solution, to your chat interface. How easy it is for you to just at a click of a button connect your bookings solution to different such entities, to your CRM, maybe to your accounting solution, to cross check some of these insights. Because you are introducing this tool to eliminate the manual work of email back and forth. But if this tool brings a set of manual work for you to consolidate, do a separate analytics, take dashboard or data from this bookings tool and then go map it against something else and manually figure out how many of your bookings actually converted as customers, how many of your bookings actually gave a good revenue, or what is the percentage of revenue that came through customers who came through booking channel and all of that should be seamless. It should happen at a click of a button and not like you download data, import somewhere else and do some analysis paralysis in some other place. Then literally what you're doing is eliminating email manual work and introducing some integration manual work. So that is one thing, that because maybe we are a part of Zoho, which operates with this integration, privacy, security and user focus. These are some of the fundamental tenets of how we operate. Also because we have 55 plus applications, and naturally it is in our tendency to ensure that a Zoho CRM connects easily with the Zoho bookings and so on. So we see a lot of benefit in that. The integration component that you mentioned, in addition to AI is one aspect of making the whole user experience, user journey seamless and faster. But integration is much more powerful, especially for a space like scheduling. Only then a user will actually get a benefit of introducing a tool like this and not get into a new set of manual work replacing the old email manual work.
Hmm. So could you see that with the possibility of like integrating into multiple aspects, could that actually be kind of a little bit of a deterrent, like information overload a little bit? Like it's like, oh, well, I just wanted something that booked, yeah, but now I'm going to get like reports and it's going to go all onto CRM. Do I have to manage that? Do you think that that could be a little bit of a barrier?
Uh, Honestly, no. Primarily,
Okay.
why is that? Is because initially, what is the problem you're trying to solve? I am sending emails to my 10 prospects, and I'm getting confused on when I am available, when they are available, and in the process, I'm missing out 3 prospects. Only 7 are actually having a conversation with me. That problem is easily solved, or that's the straightforward benefit that you get from a bookings like tool, where you're ensuring that anybody who is ready to have a conversation with you will have a conversation with you. Your availability, your email, when you send an email, when the user sees the email, those things are not going to impact this whole process. So that is taken care of. The second level of maturity is what I talked about. Okay, I solved that problem, but then how do I get maximum benefit out of investing in a system like this, is when the system connects to multiple other solutions in your ecosystem. If you are someone who feels like, as long as I am able to meet 10 out of 10 customers and I'm not worried about from this 10 how many prospects became customer, what is the dollar value revenue that I made from those, if those are the insights that I'm not very particular about, it's optional for you.
At this point of the interview, unfortunately, we had a few technical difficulties and the rest of the interview didn't finish recording. And so I would like to thank Bharath and Zoho for coming on and answering all those questions about the booking statistics. And if you want to learn more about Zoho Booking and how it can help your business save time and money, go to zoho.com/booking and check out all of their features and offers. Highly recommend it. I use booking software and it is a time saver. Anyways, thank you for watching and catch you on the next interview.